Was a dark and stormy night. The couple, recently married, were on their honeymoon, and it was dark out, they got lost. And then they ended up on the murder road. Well, okay, that's not the name of the road. It's not actually called Murder Road. It's called Atticus Line. But the book we're going to talk about today is called Murder Road by Simone St. James. This is an author I've been meaning to read for quite some time. I've heard quite a bit about them and had not had the pleasure of reading one of their books. I must say it was fast paced. The writing just grips you, pulls you in, and it's like immediate stuff is just happening. So you come into the story. It's this couple that just got married. They're coming from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and they're going over to the west side of the state for a little honeymoon at this place called Five Pines. They're gonna do some swimming and hanging out, making love. I mean, they just got married, so sex will be happening. So it's April and Eddie. April wakes up and she's like, "Oh, where are we?" They're in the car, they're driving. And Eddie's like, "I'm not quite sure. I think I may have taken a wrong turn. I thought I was going the right way, but I don't know." So they're going down the road, and then they see someone walking down the side of the road in the night. I wouldn't stop. A lot of scary things and people out there. No, thank you. But bless their hearts, they're like, is that guy drunk? This guy walking down the side of the road? And then April's like, "I think it's a woman." The woman's just kind of shuffling along the side of the road. And they're like, "Should we stop and try to help her?" And so they slowly pull up to her, and April's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And the lady looks at her and is like, "Hello?" They're like, "Do you need a ride? What's wrong? Are you something? I don't know what's going on." And she's all deer in headlights and weird. "I don't know. Is this real?" And she's like, "Up the one way, there's a hospital, la 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 la." So anyways, she's like, "Okay, I'll take a ride." So she gets in the back seat. She's being very strange. And so Eddie and April, they are heading toward this town, heading toward this hospital, because they're not sure where to take her or what to do with her, and seems like a good place to go for help. But then April notices she's holding this jacket over her, and then she sees the blood. She's like, "Oh God, are you okay?" But the girl's passed out at this time. They get to the hospital. They run in there and they carry her in there, and they're like, "Help." And they find out she's been stabbed. So she's been stabbed in the stomach and in the chest. And then the cops show up almost immediately. It's 3 in the morning. And the cops are like, "Oh, well, now you guys are murder suspects." And it's like, why would we bring her to the hospital if we stabbed her? Does that make any sense to you guys? And the cops are just being hard on boners. Well, the one detective guy is. He's been a super boner. He sucks. So they gotta stick around. And the cops take them to this bed and breakfast for this lady that owns it. Her name's Rose. Rose is not happy about having 2 potential murderers stay in her bed and breakfast. And she's super grumpy about it. So they go and they stay the night, and then they wake up the next day because, they're going to be questioned. Oh, yeah, also, forgot about this. So when they're in the car driving with this girl, whose name is Rhonda Jean, and all of a sudden there's headlights behind them, and there's a truck. And the truck is speeding up. And she's like, "I'm sorry, he's coming." And they're like, "Oh my God, F." So they're driving, and when they get to the turnoff, Eddie cuts it and turns real quick, and then the truck just keeps going. He makes a terrified face because Eddie sees something. He sees something real effed up in the back of that truck. So anyways, B&B, next day, he's like, "April, do not tell them about the truck." And she doesn't understand why or what, but here's the thing. Eddie has done a tour in Iraq, hallucinations of things that aren't there. So what he thinks he saw he might not have actually seen. And what he thought he saw was this girl in the back of the truck holding onto the side that sat up and creepily looked at him, but she looked like she was dead. So the cops come and they question them. Like I said, they're like, "Why would we bring her to the hospital? This, that, and the other." Cops just being a real boner about it. And so they don't really have anything on them that they can tie to them. There's no murder weapon. So they're like, "We're going to search your car. So you guys stick around." Da 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 da. So then they stay around the B&B and they talk to Rose and get to know Rose. And Rose's husband, Robbie, had passed away. He was a cop. They joke about the fact that Rose killed her husband, but she didn't. She loved her husband. He had died of a heart attack in the backyard, and she had been digging to like dig a garden, and they're like, oh, she was gonna bury him in the backyard, blah 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 blah. And all the town like hates her or whatever, and she doesn't really like anyone, doesn't get a whole lot of business at her B&B and whatnot. But she begrudgingly feeds them. When they're gonna go leave, Eddie like gives her some money for her troubles and whatnot, and I guess maybe that makes things sit a little better with her, and she doesn't really think they're murderers. So you got that going on. Eddie and April take it on themselves that they need to figure out what's going on so that the blame is not being pinned on them. And so there's this whole thing. There's like this place called Hunter Beach that is near that street, Atticus Line, where there are hitchhikers. What they find out is there's this whole history of hitchhikers who have gone missing over the years. And there's this legend of this girl called the Lost Girl. And if you see the Lost Girl, you're probably going to be the next to die. So, what did Eddie see in the back of that truck? Are they going to be the next to die? I don't know. Well, I do know. You'll have to read the book to find out. And it's a whirlwind of a thriller. Fun. It's weird. It's spooky. I love the writing. I like the characters. It had me hooked the whole time. So I definitely want to check out some more of Simone St. James' writing and books. I know there's the Book of Cold Cases, and then there's another one that I can't think of the name of right now that I definitely need to read. Big thumbs up for this author. Really dug the book. The next video coming up will be about a spooky thriller, so stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button. Come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.